Bitcoin reached a new all-time high last week. Everyone currently is asking me, Yip, what's the next plan? Is Bitcoin going to continue higher? Is Ethereum going to reach a new all-time high? Are we going to see a major crash from here? Is the bull market top in? These kind of questions will all be answered in today's massive market update video. I will exactly lay out my plan for both Bitcoin and Ethereum for the coming months, all the way up until the end of 2025. So make sure to watch, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and let's dive into the charts. Soon I think Bitcoin is going to find an intermediate top after taking out the all-time high over here, but I do think there's still some gas left in the tank and I think we can still continue a little higher. Now how I measure my target is to take the last leg over here to the downside before getting this massive reversal towards the upside and get my standard deviation levels right over here. I'm using these settings for the standard deviation levels, and what we can see is that the -2, -2.5 area is in between $116,000 and $123,500. Now this is also in line with the area where a lot of people are looking to take their first massive batch of profits on Bitcoin. And I'm talking about the bigger players. I'm talking about the people that have been buying and accumulating Bitcoin in this range right over here. I feel like a lot of people are looking to take profit and are looking for a potential cycle top exactly in that area around $120,000. Now this is also in line with the standard deviation level. So what I'm kind of expecting is for Bitcoin in the coming month or two, so in between now and in between the end of July right over here, to reach that area around 116 and around $123,000, this entire area over here, and within this area start the first local distribution. So what do I mean by that? I mean that it takes time for the bigger players to get rid of their buy and long positions over here. They don't get to sell their positions in an hour or in a minute or two. No, it takes days, weeks, sometimes even months to distribute all of their orders. Because if they want to sell so much Bitcoin, there's a lot of people that needs to buy from them. Now, if they start some kind of a consolidation area over here, they get the time to get rid of all of their long and buy positions. So that means that I think that the first distribution area starts around here. Now after this distribution area, I'm expecting a leg to the downside, and I'm expecting this leg to be pretty violent, okay, towards the downside to flush out a lot of people. Now to measure my target for that leg, it's very simple, because we know that if you reach the -2, -2.5 area, before you start moving towards the -4 level over here, you first get a pullback towards the discount of that leg towards the upside. So I mean, if we indeed reach at -2, -2.5, I take my premium and discount of this leg towards the upside, and we should get a pullback towards a discounted area. So if Bitcoin is indeed going to distribute in this area and get a violent leg to the downside to shake out some more people, I think that this leg should end in towards this discount of that leg towards the upside. Whoops! You don't want your portfolio to drop like that, so make sure to like and subscribe, and let's keep things steady. Now that is also beautifully in line with my area over here, the previous range low. Now if we extend this to the right, that area is also in line with the discount. So what I'm expecting for Bitcoin to happen is to get that leg towards $116,000, $123,000, start a period of distribution over here. I think that this period of distribution is also going to be the first area where altcoins get a proper run towards the upside. People get extremely bullish, people get extremely euphoric. If we then get a dip towards a discount and we fall back beneath $100,000, what do we think that happens to the people? They get extremely frightened again. They think that the bull cycle top is in, exactly as everyone predicted that the bull cycle top was going to be around $120,000. Then we get a leg to the downside. A lot of people start selling and shorting Bitcoin and altcoins over here. And within this discount, Bitcoin is going to form one more higher low right over here. I think in between $96,000 and $80,000. I think this is a beautiful area for smart money to once again start accumulating and start absorbing the sell and short pressure from retail traders. And then guys, from there, we get one final leg towards the upside, towards that -4 standard deviation level that we took from this last leg to the downside right over here. And we know that according to the standard deviation theory, this should be our final target. After a pullback first towards a discount of that first leg towards the upside, and I feel like also psychology wise this makes a lot of sense, because if we get an intermediate top over here and we get a violent leg to the downside in towards a discount of this leg to the upside, I feel like psychology wise a lot of people really will be calling for a bull cycle top over here, as everyone has been predicting that the bull cycle top would be around $120,000. But keep one thing in mind, if everyone is predicting the same thing to happen, if everyone is expecting the same thing to happen, and then we also see that thing playing out at first, do we really think that that's gonna happen? That the majority of the market is gonna predict the bull cycle top? That the majority of the market is going to be able to sell their Bitcoin at the exact cycle top? I personally don't think so. So I think it makes a lot more sense to then get one more leg towards the upside over here. And what will then happen is that everyone all of a sudden starts calling for a super cycle. But at the end of the day, according to the cycle theory, this timing period in between July and the end of 2025, according to the previous cycles, is a perfect time for Bitcoin to create a high time frame bull cycle top before starting a longer bear market. So I don't only think that according to the chart this scenario over here makes a lot of sense. I actually do think psychology and cycle and timing wise this scenario makes most sense as well. And then I think around that area in between $140,000 and $160,000 for Bitcoin, Bitcoin is going to start a longer period of consolidation, which will turn out to be distribution, where most of smart money gets rid of their buy and long positions that they have been accumulating at lower levels. And since everyone will be expecting a super cycle, at least the retail traders will, they start buying over here. And who do they buy from? From the smart money players like you and me. So we start consolidating and distributing, and then we form a bull cycle top. And in this timing period over here, during that consolidation and during this leg towards the upside, that's when altcoins will also get their cycle. That's when altcoins will start outperforming Bitcoin, retail returns back to the market, and I feel like that's the perfect time to form a bull cycle top. So this is my scenario for Bitcoin. One local impulse towards the upside, some local short-term distribution before a leg to the downside to turn everyone bearish over here, before getting one more push to the upside, where we start the proper distribution before starting the bear market on Bitcoin. 14 days of completely free access to what I think is the best and also most authentic trading community in the space, Tribe Capital. All that you guys need to do is follow the first link in the description down below. Just fill out your email address, nothing else, and I'll catch you guys in the community. To get my scenario going on ETH, I also want to take this last leg to the downside over here and get my standard deviation levels on the chart. So we go from the low to the high and I select my standard deviation template. And what we can see is that we get a very interesting area in between $3,100 and $3,400, because once again guys, that's the -2, -2.5 standard deviation area. A perfect area for ETH to start forming a local intermediate top after getting one more impulse towards that area. We can also see that this area is in line with this massive liquidity pool right over here. I think there's massive amounts of liquidations resting around that area, and if we get a push towards that area, everyone will be thinking that ETH is going straight towards new all-time highs from here. But obviously we know that markets don't tend to move in ways that everyone expects them to move. So if we measure this impulse to the upside towards that -2, -2.5 standard deviation area, and we once again get our premium and discount going, what we can see is that the discount area exactly aligns with this massive low that we just put in on ETH. Where in that case, if we get a push towards that -2, -2.5, there will be massive liquidity resting, because everyone that is breakout longing and buying ETH over here will be using that low to cover their stop loss if they are targeting brand new all-time highs and beyond for ETH. So I think that that will be a massive liquidation area, and in that case it exactly aligns with the discount of this leg towards the upside. Also the discount area guys, it exactly aligns with this massive higher time frame range low area for ETH. We have the range low over here, and we obviously, as we know, we have the range high area over here. The fact that it exactly aligns with the discount of that leg towards the -2, -2.5 is not a coincidence to me. In that case, this massive liquidation low will be acting as a beautiful inducement for that range low area. Now, according to the range trading theory, after a deviation of the range low, as long as you have an inducement above that range low, which we have right over here, you can play the perfect retest. So we sweep that liquidity, once again, with a violent move to the downside after getting some short-term ranging and distributive price action over here. This is where many people will be calling for a bear market for ETH. Many people will be very fearful, very frightened. This, guys, is where I will open a massive swing long on ETH with my invalidation beneath that low of the deviation, targeting the -4 standard deviation level. And now, guys, do we think that it's a coincidence that this -4 level over here exactly aligns above this range high area, and that it exactly aligns with that 2021 intermediate bull cycle top? I don't think so. So I think that this is an area where ETH can once again form a top for this potential cycle. Keep that in mind. When ETH takes out the range high area over here, when ETH reaches that -4 level around $4,250, don't expect ETH to straight go towards $8,000. No, this will be the time to be very cautious and take profit on your spot positions on ETH, but also on altcoins. Now, I think that if we get that leg towards the -2, -2.5, and we start distributing over here, I'll be looking to take some profit on ETH. I'll be looking to take some profit on altcoins, and I might even enter some local swing shorts over here, targeting the discount area of that impulse towards the upside, targeting the massive liquidation week right over here for Ethereum. Now, this will be the perfect area to form a higher low, accumulate a swing long, for smart money to accumulate new longs and buys as well, and then target this massive liquidity pool, this massive liquidation area around $4,000, where we have that range high and where we also have that -4 standard deviation level. Now, I think that this is my plan up until the end of the year. Get an impulse up, form a local top, intermediate top, get an impulse down, form intermediate higher low, get another impulse up, and form a potential bull cycle top for Ethereum. So you guys should now be prepared for the rest of 2025. I still think that both Bitcoin and ETH will reach much higher targets. But we have to be prepared for that one dip. Because for many of you guys, that one last crash, that one last dip that we are going to get in the coming months might be the very last buy opportunity. Now, if you guys like these kind of updates, I would honestly appreciate and love it if you guys could leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Ciao, ciao!